We've been seeing that go towards the mid laners throughout the day so far.
And the Gnar as well, because Vizicsacsi has been really good on that the last couple of games.
Yeah, he's pretty scary.
He really has. Probably see him pick up Irelia this game if they don't want to even show anything.
Yeah, they can, in fact, first pick Irelia here if they want. We'll see if that is actually going to go through. Of course, with Corki and Lucian both up, you know, I think it's kind of a mixed bag. I think if you have one, you're going to be okay.
I'd be surprised if they went with the first pick Irelia. There's like a lot of counter picks you can pick into Irelia, so I mean, seems kind of odd, especially if she's also like very susceptible to being 2v1 in doves.
Right. Not showing too much. Maybe they'll get what they want out of seeing what TSM has on the board. Irelia can be that fighter. It can also help to peel for people. So they got what they want, and Vizicsacsi has what he wants as well. I'm going to say that right.
Wouldn't be surprised
the rest of the weekend.
I think they're probably going to go with like a Corki Pantheon or something here, or maybe even a Corki Nunu. I think they're going to probably pull out their jungle pick and then, of course, just lock in the Corki because...
Santorin did, when he was on Coast, play a really good Nunu, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he's pretty decent.
That was banned last game.
Yep, and Nunu's also very good against Irelia. She has to dive in on your team, and, of course, you can snowball her attack speed, and your ultimate's really effective against her, so... Wouldn't be surprised to see that.
See if Santorin brings out the Twisted Fate here.
Also, Janna's still available. Lustboy played it last game. Does he want to play it again this game or not?
That is true.
Oh, there's Corki
May
Nunu.
see that Nunu actually coming through. Corki locked in by Wildturtle. That's Dyrus for him, and that is going to be the Nunu as well. Jack gets his pick up into the game, and we're going to see how much really harassment and control of the jungle Santorin can put down here.
Yeah, I'm excited to see this as the first pick that we've really seen on 420 of Nunu and what exactly he can do, because you know, I've seen it some of the scrims that have occurred, but never in a professional match yet.
Yeah, he's not really commonly picked in a lot of the other regions besides NA, so yeah, I'm pretty interested to see how this works out too. I mean, Santorin is an EU jungler after all, but...
Dexter's a huge fan of it as well, actually.
yeah,
I think a lot of...
I wonder why.
Still waiting for Unicorns of Love on their pickups now, definitely slowing down, much like their picks against Lion Gaming in the first set of the day. Try to figure out what they can bring against Corki and Nunu. That really doesn't show too much about the composition. They're going to be able to fight in whatever's happening. Nunu can still be trouble, Corki on the back line. So Unicorns of Love deciding we can pick an AD carry here, even with an AD on the board.
I think they don't want to show their hand at this point.
That's true.
They don't want to reveal anything and just wait for the next phase of picks and bans.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty solid pick. It doesn't really reveal anything. So now TSM basically has to pick the top lane and, of course, their support, which is okay. You know how they have the Thresh, so you can pick like a Janna or like a Morgana or something like that. Both good lanes into it. Oh, okay. That would pretty surprising to see a Soraka.
I think I would have preferred the Morgana.
They're really low damage if they do.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not a lot of damage they're picking up right now.
Especially
they do have a lot of time to stay in the fight with some sustain, but that's not really going to keep them in there.
I don't know how you're going to kill anybody. You're going to be slapping them for days with the
Also, it's just that Nunu Corki synergy has never been really all there, especially the way that Corki's used these days with that early Trinity Force and then the Sork shoes pickup. You're waiting a long time for that Blood Boil to be relevant.
Yeah, I'm actually curious what they're going to pick mid, because they need some like balls to the wall damage. Like they need something that's going to be tearing stuff apart.
They could look for Orianna and just look to scale the game, and that way they would win.
Seeing what he'll have. Bjergsen still has Syndra on the board as well. Could get a pick comp somewhat going out. Maokai gets in there. If you can lock down the fights, they're able to mitigate a bit of damage with that Vengeful Maelstrom.
I wonder if PowerOfEvil would take the Orianna right now just to deny it from Bjergsen. I think that could be a possibility.
I don't think they would do that, because it still leaves them open to picking Xerath into it. And Xerath's like a pretty good pick into Ori when you have sustain.
Ooh, they take the Syndra.
And Wukong.
All right. It's probably jungle. This guy, Kikis is like picking the most off-the-wall jungles like every single game. Just like, all right, we'll try this one. He just closes his eyes and just clicks it.
Whoa, awesome stuff coming in with that Wukong, but we're seeing the Talon covered on the other side as well. We'll see if we can get some of that out of Bjergsen in the mid lane. I haven't seen a whole lot of amazing play on the Talon, but it's still very effective once you get him going and control the game.
Yeah, but that loss of the silence really hurt his potential in the mid lane, so I would be a little bit surprised if it actually went through here. And there we go!
Well, there's the damage they need. There's the damage they need.
Shurima's legacy.
I'm really excited to see
this. Will be building itself somewhere on the Rift today. We're going to see Azir picked up. I think of Azir when like Orianna came out. There's so many different things you can do. People are still figuring it out. It's so mechanically in depth with that champion. And I think we could really see some awesome stuff out of Bjergsen, because he has been one of the mid laners in North America that's been playing Azir quite a bit.
Yeah, this is going to be a team comp where TSM just groups up really early. I wouldn't be surprised on the second blue even, they're just going to group up and just start rotating around the map and just taking turrets. Azir kills turrets with Nunu buff. It is like disgusting how fast. He's literally just like, dead. Like three hit. Like,
All right, we'll see if the composition comes to be. We are going to be getting a game 2 shortly after this break. Stick with us for the Intel Extreme Masters League of Legends competition.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Intel Extreme Masters San Jose. We're getting into game number 2 of TSM versus the Unicorns of Love, with UOL 1-0 up after a very convincing win in game number 1. Game number 2, we're going to see Azir brought out here for the first time.
Yes, so Azir's a champion that works really well in siege comps. So is Soraka. So is Nunu. They have a ridiculous opportunity to siege here. Nunu can build Banner of Command, is one of the big things about him. And he can blood boil whatever he uses Banner of Command on. And Azir has amazing disengage, even for something like Wukong. So this is a ridiculous siege comp.
Yeah, and that's what TSM is going to be doing, as St. Fishes was saying. An early group and push is probably what would best favor TSM. The thing they have to avoid from happening is, honestly, I just feel like they have to contain Kikis in the jungle. If Wukong can get a bunch of kills off, something that's a great siege breaker is a guy who can dash into your team invisibly and start cycloning on your face. That's what Wukong could become, but if he falls behind, the instant he does that, he's just going to get Azir walled back and killed instantly. So a lot of this will have to do on the early game of Unicorns of Love.
Well, the early game last time around, let's not forget, Twisted Fate, a complete surprise pick. The question for me, though, is can Unicorns of Love, as the definite underdogs in this matchup, actually win 2 games in a row against TSM, a team that has so much experience in this kind of scenario? Yes, maybe not Santorin as much, but now bringing out the Nunu here, a more supporty jungler. We'll see what he can bring to the table.
Yeah, and so that's why, a lot of the analysts and people were still saying they think this will probably go to game 3. But one of the most impressive things about Unicorn of Love's win was their team fighting, last game. Their ability to switch out low health players and use their crowd control and stack their crowd control. They played extremely well as a whole team. It wasn't just the quote-unquote cheesy TF and steamrolling mid. They played really well at all phases of the game.
As we saw, I feel like, from Vizicsacsi's Gnar and PowerOfEvil's LeBlanc, they're really standout players in the solo lanes. And they're playing against a team in Team Solomid who generally also has very standout solo lanes. So it's a really fascinating matchup, just player-wise.
Yeah, and speaking of the standout players in the solo lanes, PowerOfEvil Syndra again. This is like a ridiculous champion that it's always mentioned with this player. He has that. Plus they have Thresh again, which is a huge support for them. So they do have comfortable champions. See what they can do this time around. Some very neutral wards going down. So we won't have any super tricky starts this time around. And Wukong is not one of those level 2 run mid right after red buff because he doesn't have the CC.
Or is he? It is Kikis right now.
I'm going to say he isn't. You can place your bets. But I'm going to say Kikis is not a one path guy. He's going to switch it up here.
Well, the thing that I've loved about his jungling so far is he is already defying the standard convention that everyone else has been doing. He's had a different jungle path every single game depending on the champion he's starting on. Here, blue side of the map, doesn't actually start Gromp because Wukong is someone who generally wants to kill the camps a little bit faster, starting red side, and because he needs to give the Krugs over to his duo lane, and he still got pretty low. That's one thing about Wukong that I've noticed when I try and jungle him. It's very tough to stay high health early in the jungle, and you either gank right away or you back at level 3 and buy your Trailblazer.
Yeah, Trailblazer is essential for him. See if he can pick that up as quickly as possible. The other thing that tells me they're not going for that level 2 again, Bjergsen, he's getting shoved into the turret right now, so...
That'll do it.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah, and Bjergsen, we'll see how he recovers because last game was just not Bjergsen time whatsoever. Went 0-5-0 as we see there. Dyrus started off with the Raptors with those double saplings, very fast clear on that, and then TP'd up onto this top lane. So has a definite experience advantage there, and that TP down at this stage of the game shouldn't be too bad for him. And then we see Kikis going pretty damn low inside of the jungle.
And backs right away as soon as he can get his Trailblazer. One thing I also want to note about Jungle Wukong, for those of you that are trying to make it work, he skilled up his W second because you actually need that early on in the jungle to take less damage. In the old Jungle Wukong, you would do E and then Q. Now you actually have to do E and then W because the camps hit you so hard.
And right there, he used his smite on the wolves, which you very rarely do this early on, unless you're immediately going back anyway and you just wanted to use the cooldown. Otherwise, he would want to get that poison damage. In comes Santorin, though, for some ward control around mid. They do not want that focus on Bjergsen once again. They need him. He is essential to this team composition. This time around, if they did the same thing to Bjergsen, kept him down, TSM would not have a chance.
There's Kikis back into it on his blue buff, so way behind that of Nunu, as we would expect anyway. But he will be getting that blue buff, and then we'll see exactly where he goes. Meanwhile, down in that bottom lane, actually, Wildturtle falling a little bit low there, but the sustain that Lustboy is going to be able to offer him should keep them fairly safe in that lane anyway. Meanwhile, this top lane, Vizicsacsi, who out of 3 games that we've seen him play so far has been absolutely phenomenal. And we'll see if he can continue that trend. It's Dyrus that's got the early lead on him here with that Maokai up in top.
Yeah, I definitely feel like Dyrus was able to play a different style in this game, only because the jungle Wukong is known to have so much trouble clearing early. He could shove up pretty much with no hesitation, and he's going to be in a pretty big battle with Vizicsacsi as it continues. I think when Vizicsacsi gets a few items, maybe at level 6, he's going to try and get a little bit more aggressive on Dyrus. But if Maokai does get ahead in that lane and Wukong cannot apply any pressure, it'll be a huge team fight boon for TSM.
This bottom lane, by the way, there's a pretty big difference there between the two AD carries. 35 to 24. A lot of early pressure coming out of Vardags, who himself has been pretty phenomenal so far here at the Intel Extreme Masters, holding his own and going above as a hook. He's going to land here onto Wildturtle. That's a lot of damage already coming into the AD carry of TSM. And again, Lustboy is going to have to do all the work to heal him back up.
And man, the Thresh for them, once again, really, really on point with his hooks this time around. Since there's so much focus put on this Unicorns of Love solo lane players, there's very little attention paid to the bottom lane, but they are doing a lot of work down here, establishing a nice little foothold for themselves.
Continue to fight that out there. If you look at CS in other lanes, mid lane is in favor of PowerOfEvil, been pushing Bjergsen pretty heavily in that middle lane. Top lane, though, is, for the moment at least, with Dyrus, and he has constantly been pushing wave after wave into Vizicacsi's turret.
Yeah, that is another thing to note. Even though you have Nunu, it's not immediately, mid lane.
And is Bjergsen going down? The Ignite is ticking. He's already used a barrier, and he does get first blooded here. Last tick of Ignite from PowerOfEvil. And Bjergsen kind of starting off where he left in the laning phase of game 1.
I mean, that's one of the big reasons PowerOfEvil is so on Syndra, but Bjergsen just needed to show a little bit more respect in that lane. When we panned over there were a ton of orbs already on the ground. PowerOfEvil was stacking up orbs on the ground for the moment he hit level 6, so he would be able to ult Bjergsen. He got the timing right, he got 6, and he got the kill.
Oh, that hook actually missing there. Wildturtle is very low. The exhaust was used here on Vardags. Are they going to try and fight this one out? A lot of damage back onto Vardags there. He's trying to escape this one. Get back off to his turret. Still has Summoner Heal and Flash available, but Lustboy just healing Wildturtle up despite all that damage coming through.
Oh yeah, that mistook really cost them. They lost a lot of the health advantage that they did have in lane and had a hard time grabbing most of those CS that were built up in the lane. Sticking around here though, Wildturtle's going to get topped off by that Soraka, and they can keep up the pressure on the turret. This is what TSM is going to need, some good mid-game turret pressure with this team.
I'm really surprised that we haven't seen more from Santorin's Nunu. As a counter-jungling champion up against a known Wukong who is a struggling jungle to stay at high health, not getting any deep wards, not counter-jungling a single camp, and farming your jungle straight up until level 6. Maybe because he rushed the Sightstone, he'll be able to do that. But in the meantime, his lanes are losing, specifically PowerOfEvil applying absurd pressure mid.
Yeah, even if you don't feel comfortable going for counter jungling that early, at least relieve some of the pressure here. There are plenty of options for him. Nunu's not the strongest ganker, but he's very good at even just running into lane to blood boil the laner and then throwing on the snowball just to relieve some of that pressure and enable your laner to get some CS.
Oh, there's Vizicsacsi and Dyrus going head-to-head. Vizicsacsi getting some health back. Can he, though, escape this one? Dyrus is putting down a lot of damage in there. One sapling at this point should be able to finish it. Flashing, an instant flash, though, from Vizicsacsi will mean that those summoner spells are traded.
Good flash trade there. Dyrus continuing to put some pressure up in the top lane. This is the only thing really going for TSM early on in the game before they can set up some type of siege. And now we really have to see if the vision control can give them an edge. But honestly, vision control only helps you if you're actually winning your lanes or if you're actually able to make plays on it. You can have all the vision control you want if PowerOfEvil is destroying Bjergsen in mid lane.
Yeah, and you said, you know, we've not seen enough of Santorin. We've not seen him, actually, other than in his own jungle, trying to farm things up. He's now level 6, so we'll see what happens there, but so is Kikis. And one thing they've got to be careful of is, wow. Inside of the enemy jungle, PowerOfEvil will come through. There is the stun. Wish was actually used. Can they finish off? Ulti comes through, but Santorin had too much health at that point. PowerOfEvil not able to finish off. Also left Vardags completely alone down that bottom lane. Wildturtle doesn't land that second rocket, but it may just force Vardags back.
Yeah, one thing we have seen over and over again today, support roams are really important, but immediately the teams facing the support roaming take advantage of it, and they punish that AD as expected. Wildturtle getting extremely aggressive there.
And I actually have to say, Santorin was rather effective there, taking all the damage from PowerOfEvil. Even just that, being in their presence and engaging in a fight, burned PowerOfEvil's ultimate and gives Bjergsen some time to breathe in lane, actually get some CS, and now, because there was so much invested on a Santorin, quick shot back to base, time for Dragon.
Yeah, this one's going down here, I think. There's no one anywhere near it currently for the Unicorns of Love. And I think this is Dragon number 1 going to TSM. Did reset there slightly. Hylissang is down the back, will hook through, but that one's already gone. Santorin picks that one up.
Yeah, extremely effective job of juggling the aggro of that Dragon. It's actually even easier than it ever was because the wind-up time on Dragon's attack is so slow nowadays. They didn't have to take any damage of it. Since you're Nunu, no fear of getting a smite steal or anything in there. TSM just playing that slow, team-oriented game, objective control, and they will switch over to the turret game.
Well, we get... Yeah, there is Kikis, actually utilizing that free Oracle to get rid of the Tribush ward. May be able to be brought in there with the Lantern. That's something you got to be careful about. The Cyclone directly on top of you, especially for Soraka, of course. Wildturtle, once he spots that, can maybe get the Valkyrie off in time. Well, for Lustboy, that might be a different story. It's once again Bjergsen getting stunned up here underneath his own turret, and that lane is just going really, really badly for him. 30 CS behind, plus the kill as well.
And Bjergsen's in a really tough space here in the middle lane, 2 games in a row. Something that's happened fairly evidently in the 4.20 patch is the Morellonomicon becoming the default mid lane item instead of the Athene's Unholy Grail. Generally, the Chalice on this patch is not giving mid laners the mana regeneration they actually require, but because they're opting for the Morellonomicon, just more damage and enough mana regeneration, it's making it a much swingier matchup because there's no MR for either of these guys, and especially since Syndra is such a burst mage, Bjergsen has to play even more passive. If he gets hit by one stun, he's in danger of death.
Yeah, that's why just a little bit of relief from the jungler early in the game does go a long way. A lot of people were wondering how Santorin would perform, under the pressure of the first, big tournament here with TSM. And he has opted for the safe early games both time around.
Yeah, and you have to wonder whether that is, the pressure of playing your first major tournament for TSM. Do you want to make those risky plays that could end up backfiring on you? And now there is a lot of pressure from the community. Let's not get that wrong here for Santorin coming into that role. And so far, he's not impressed us.
It's also so hard to speculate on second-guessing a choice or something because we know that Team Solomid, as far as organizational structure in North America, they have a lot of it. There's the coach Loco Doker, they have analysts, they have a Reginald who pitches in from time to time. The plan could be on Nunu, hey, we have a better team comp, we're going to set up a siege, let's play safe, right? Don't do anything incredibly stupid to get Wukong fed. Just farm it out because you'll farm faster than him, get a Sightstone, and then control. Because honestly, TSM is down 500 gold, but they have controlled the first dragon fight. So if you're looking at this from a macro perspective, they're doing okay.
Yeah, really the only problem for them was the big champion Syndra there going to the mid laner PowerOfEvil. Bottom lane here, we do have our first confrontation.
Wukong! Oh, Wukong coming in, Cyclone down. Lustboy actually taking a lot of damage. Wish will be used. TPs as well from both top laners. Vizicsacsi gets the stun onto Santorin, but Vizicsacsi himself losing a lot of HP. What's going to happen here as Dyrus gets hooked in? Not the man you want to bring closer, but here comes PowerOfEvil, and they get one onto Kikis. Lustboy's going to go down. Bjergsen now moving in from the side. Good little lantern will bring PowerOfEvil away, and in the end, it's a 2-0. Lustboy ended up dying along with Wildturtle. Unicorns of Love collapsing on that bottom lane.
That is why we keep highlighting the importance of control of the mid lane. Just that control of the mid lane, it was pretty much even here. Teleport for teleport, jungler for jungler. It's the roam of the mid laner. He gets down there first. He has the high impact ultimate. Boom, somebody's dead, and they won the fight.
An impromptu 5v5, and because he had the edge in the mid lane, it's not even about beating him to the roam. Bjergsen has to lag behind.
You can't contest it because he'll kill you.
Exactly, and that's the big reason they were able to turn that fight. TSM did not necessarily disengage in time. Tough fight.
Leaves an infinity edge now for Vardags at 1-0-1. Morellonomicon, of course, was in there earlier, and Irelia's not too far away from picking up that Trinity Force. Should also mention that Dyrus, that Rod of Ages was done for him, which obviously will make him feel a little bit more comfortable.
So, for someone who was doing so amazing in the top lane this tournament, Vizicsacsi, and also for the first pick, Irelia, Dyrus did an exceptional job. There was no jungle pressure in the top lane, and Dyrus won that lane 1v1, traded flashes in an aggressive fashion, and is continuing to outfarm. So that's going to be a pretty interesting thing as this goes forward.
Well, the other thing is that Vizicsacsi now has 4 men trying to collapse in onto him in this top lane. Actually done a good job as he jumped over to Wildturtle. The question is, where does he actually go? And what do the Unicorns of Love do with this?
How much time can he waste?
Yeah.
This whole TSM
I think he can
team
live.
is chasing him.
I think he's going to wait for the Thresh Lantern to be scot-free.
Well, Jack, you're not wrong.
Aha!
Hylissang coming in from the side, the lantern comes out, and the funny thing is this might actually turn in to the first turret of the game now for Unicorns of Love. They've got a decent wave, in fact a second wave will join them, and that outer turret in the middle lane will in fact fall now. We did see Bjergsen recalling, the rest kind of looping back around through their own jungle, and Unicorns of Love might even get damage onto the second tower.
What an upset this would be if TSM falls 2-0, Unicorns of Love. Dyrus engages from behind.
No turtle.
Where's the team?
Yeah, completely caught out here. The box has gone down. It's taking a while to kill Dyrus, who flashes away. Can Kikis finish him off? Kikis will actually fall low himself there. Dyrus actually still alive. Meanwhile, Vizicsacsi less than half HP. And how Dyrus survived that one, I'll have no idea. Kikis also
Soraka.
Blinking red. Well, yeah, Soraka. I say no idea, and it's actually quite obvious in the end. But it will steal away a blue buff on the way out. And there's the damage there. Vizicsacsi low. Flash from Bjergsen. That'll be his first kill this game.
Bananas, Joe. That is how. Then Bjergsen, he's finally able to get his first taste here. He gets some money on Azir, and that's what they really need. Like we said, he is the crux of this team fight. The TSM team here, another dragon
What a
to stack
critical
up really
juncture.
quickly.
What a critical juncture in the game that just was, not being able to close those kills and then getting trapped in the zone of Azir. Now 2 dragons to TSM, holding on by a thread, quite honestly, but still holding on quite well. 2 dragons, and honestly, if Azir gets going a little bit and they can play the zone control game, it is a ridiculous amount of damage that Azir can output.
Look at the items that are coming in now. Trinity Force is done. Bjergsen, he just got a kill on top of his Morellonomicon, so he's already got the second Fiendish Codex, and he can turn that into item number 2. If Nunu does decide to go with the Banner of Command, then their siege gets really scary really quickly. Dyrus' Rod of Ages has been stacking, so TSM is coming up on the point where they can, try and collect some gold from the last 2 outer turrets, and if you secure 3 dragons in a row, it gives you a really, really good presence in that mid game, because 4 and 5, you're coming up on that 5th dragon buff very, very quickly.
So Wildturtle there just waiting inside of the brush. Actually was pretty much just watching Vardags go about his farming. Let's not forget that tower in that bottom lane still standing. Teams tied 1 apiece, but it is down to half HP, so Lustboy and Wildturtle might get a good chunk of damage onto this one before we do see Hylissang coming back into this lane. Nunu also down there as well, so Unicorns have to be careful.
Speaking of Hylissang, he's already got distortion boots on his Thresh. This guy is a playmaker at heart. He just wants flash up that much quicker. He's spending money this early on it. Only a Sightstone completed, not upgrading to face the mount or anything yet. They might need some AoE magic resistance as well pretty quickly. That would definitely help them out.
Yeah, I feel like rushing the Aegis might have been a little bit better cost, but we'll see if he can make some flashy plays.
We'll see if that flash really makes a difference, because
specifically the cooldown of the flash. The first one he could have done forever, but then if he does it really quick after the cooldown, then it's worth it.
There's a lot of value in that magic resistance aura against this TSM squad.
It was Bjergsen once again. 40 CS behind that hook was also close to landing. We did see PowerOfEvil making his way towards that bottom lane. He'll actually be replacing that role by Kikis now. Well, there is a Tribush ward there, so would have been spotted either way. And that turret hanging on by a thread. Wildturtle might be able to just solo that one out. Just trying to take a peek here as to exactly who's around and who's gone home. In fact, there's nobody left there. Wildturtle could freely tank that one up as PowerOfEvil catching Santorin. Oh, there's the flash from Hylissang. Can he land the hook? No, he goes a little bit wide. There's a turret as well, finished in the bottom lane by Wildturtle.
Yeah, and Jungler showed, and he soaked up another Syndra ult. So Nunu, the punching bag, doing some work there.
That's honestly what he is in a lot of these games. You're just trying to be as big a distraction as possible and wait for the siege to happen. However, there's reduced coolant on that Thresh flash, so it's actually not as big of a win as we think.
We'll see if that does come into play soon.
I don't agree with that purchase whatsoever.
I'm pretty sure we're on the same page there.
Well, I'm gonna be the one that keeps the faith then. Say next flash is gonna be the one that wins them a fight, or possibly not, depending on how much I'm jinxing them on that one. So, what comes up next here? You see Baron spawning in now at 20 minutes into the game. Unicorns of Love still 1,000 gold ahead in this matchup. But how much of that is just completely knocked out with those stats from the Dragons?
Yeah, at this point I feel like TSM would have a slight gold edge as long as they don't get one-shot by a PowerOfEvil Syndra.
Yeah, I mean, you can talk about the gold efficiency of the dragon buff that it gives you. The thing is, you can't focus that gold into the stats that you're actually trying to build on your champions. So yes, it does give you value. It's not exactly pure focused combat power, though.
Well, they could certainly do with a little combat power at this point. Vizicsacsi once again pushing that top lane out, and he's already on the tower. Dyrus already back in lane, though. He's actually got a decent amount of armor now with him as well. So it should hinder Vizicsacsi and the amount of harassment that he can do. But look at this. Kikis moving up. PowerOfEvil will go there. Hylissang is also headed towards that top lane. What can they pull off? Oh.
Thing is, TSM has a lot of, wave clear, especially with the dragon buff adding that extra damage to minions too. So if they want to just defend, Dyrus by himself, though.
Bjergsen has purchased 2 Morellonomicons. That's interesting. Is the
He wanted a
cooldown
second-
reduction on that unique?
He's a big fan of the author, needed a second copy. I believe there is at least one part of that item that's unique.
It's a good joke, at least. I don't know about the build.
Well, maybe that is the joke, after all. We'll see. Tori going down there, third one of the game here for TSM. And
You know what? It's a plea to have Morello not nerf Azir.
buy his item and
We'll have to find out if the Morellonomicon, if it's giving him 40% CDR or not, because I don't think it is.
Yeah, we don't actually have an in-game client up here at the moment.
well, Jack can check with his sources here in his ear.
It's
Figure that out.
source it.
Only the Grievous Wounds is actually unique. So it's completely stackable here. This is not a poor purchase. This is a power spike they're going for. Really early here. They want this right now. Let's see if they decide to group up pretty soon.
Well, we're going to find out because the next dragon is coming into play. TSM have both of those dragons so far.
I fully agree with the build now, actually. That much power, that's 160 ability power, plus 200% base mana regeneration and 40% cooldown reduction on a champion who's very cooldown reliant. It's actually a great build.
Yeah, I mean, if you build Deathcap and Void Staff next, then that's ridiculous power.
Oh, Dyrus actually getting damaged quite a lot here for pretty much returning nothing. Unicorns of Love have positional advantage on that dragon. There is vision there for TSM though. So let's see what they can actually do with this one. Saplings will give them vision over the top. And they now just push their way in completely and take position.
And this is actually where Azir thrives, is when you can funnel the enemy through a spot you know. If he gets soldiers up and Unicorns of Love tries to fight through them, they should get decimated.
Also, they can just hang around here. Azir excels at poking. They can get... Oh, Dyrus gets hooked.
Well, but rest of the team wasn't really there.
Irelia is clearing bottom, so Unicorns of Love just trying to buy some time to thin out that wave. They would not like to use their teleport, but they might have to.
Oh, Dyrus going very deep, but Hylissang going low from this one as well. We see Wukong having to get away from it, and PowerOfEvil will be focused down. Vizicsacsi is in the middle of the team now, and he's wrecking faces. We'll see Vardags fall. Hylissang will fall. Now Kikis coming back into the fight. Bjergsen, a lot of damage, but not much health. Will fall as well. And now with Hylissang coming in, landing another hook. He might have baited his own death. No, he survives. And Vizicsacsi gets the killing spree. And that is a 4 for 2 in favor of the Unicorns of Love.
And really, really importantly, they put a stop to the dragon streak. Nunu's still alive with flash, though, so maybe I've spoken too soon. If they get it low enough, Santorin could just jack that.
Yep.
They're still doing it. That's bold.
This is really, really bold. I mean, it's low enough. He's got it.
Actually, they're going to try and kill him. Still manages to get it, though. That's third dragon. He may just pay the price with his life.
He's going to
Here
win.
comes Soraka, though. Lustboy helping out. There is the kill. They kill off Kikis. And now Vizicsacsi will be chased down. Hylissang should just get away. Oh, he throws a lantern to the side. He does manage to get away. Big one comes in. And now Dyrus on the side. I think they've got far enough away, though.
So that's pretty much the way things go when you try and heads up a Smite War with Nunu.
That's the way things go with the Deathcap Syndra, too. What a weird game this just turned into. But yeah, 3 dragons for TSM after a really crazy fight, which at this point it's almost too late to talk about, but a really good 2-pronged engage that he started to win the Unicorns of Love fight. First Wukong going in, getting the Azir wall out, and then Irelia jumping in again afterwards from a different angle. Was really just a brilliantly played team fight by Unicorns of Love, and a little bit of a boneheaded dragon attempt there by giving it up to Santorin.
Yeah, the big reason why Azir is so good for the sieges is because, not only the poke, but also in all the lanes, people are funneled in, and the wall really takes up most of the space of a whole lane, and you can shove off the whole team there. But fighting in the jungle like that, there are so many avenues they can come at you. TSM got, overwhelmed. Good job of UOL by re-engaging and swarming them, but, questionable decision to go for that dragon with Nunu staring you down.
I like the camaraderie there from Santorin as well, just to, keep that wave where it was so his teammates could come in and take over.
I would have vaulted that wave immediately.
Exactly. I think most people would have as well. Yeah. And there is a turret going down in that bottom lane. That's the third one for UOL, so all actually level on that front. In terms of gold, it's 2,500. Unicorns actually pushing up through the TSM jungle, and TSM gonna have to react to this one quickly. That inner turret already taking a lot of damage and will surely fall before they can do anything. Here comes the hook from Hylissang. Won't actually connect into anyone. They take the tower though, and this could be a 5 versus 5 fight from the side.
Good scum, good poke going down here for TSM. One snowball lands.
Oh.
Blood boil that Corki there?
I'm not sure they're
afraid to counter engage.
Be careful, Kikis turns around. This could be really bad for TSM. Santorin gets a good channel off, but Kikis right at the back doing all the damage. To double kill coming out for Vardags. Can they now lock down Bjergsen and Lustboy? Kikis trying to dash off. Vizicsacsi, of course, no tower there, or until at least Azir gets involved. And that means that TSM do manage to keep 2 men alive.
TSM is not on the same page, and Unicorns of Love's absolutely all reading the same book at this point. Just because Wildturtle was the only one who didn't get the memo that the counter engage was coming. He was so far ahead by the time Kikis turned that around, and you could see the hesitancy of the rest of TSM to continue chasing so aggressively because a turnaround like this could happen.
A Syndra in the bush and a Wukong on the other team, that is so much counter engage. They walk right into it. Turtle doesn't get to do anything that fight, by the way, because it was followed up by a beautiful hook once again, and then they chase him down. TSM a little bit aggressive with that chase down, and that's going to cost them dearly because they just lost a lot of momentum. They were sort of hanging on there, but that's going to be a really big swing here for Unicorns.
12-4 up in kills, 5 of them with Vizicsacsi here in the top lane on this Irelia. We've seen him switching basically between Irelia and Gnar for the game so far here today, and well, he's been pretty fantastic across the board. Some real individual talents that they've got, Unicorns of Love. And, you know, it's not often that we see the amazing individual talents plus the teamwork really coming together as well, but they seem to have everything.
So much better this series, too, than the first series as far as the teamwork is going. And I have to say, Kikis might be my new favorite jungler.
He's played so much stuff. Kale, Twisted Fate, and now Wukong, completely off meta that has happened so far in the 420 patch. This would be such an upset if Unicorns of Love can close a 2-0 against TSM. TSM, the #1 seed from North America here at IEM San Jose. And Unicorns of Love, yeah, they got in from the fan vote, but a recently qualified European LCS team that a lot of people were criticizing because they might not be good enough. Bjergsen caught!
Completely caught out. He will go down. He did get his ulti off, but will that be able to save the team? Again, it's done from PowerOfEvil. Lustboy will drop. That's a double for PowerOfEvil. They hook in Dyrus. It's a triple now for Syndra, and they're going to push here. This is towers going down.
Yep, that's going to go down really easy, and easy come, easy go here. It looks like Unicorns of Love are going to shove right into the inhibitor. Whoa, Turtle cut off the line of minions. So as a single man defending, that's your only hope that you can do is stop the minions so that they don't get up there and take off the extra armor of the turret.
Still, that is
just buy some time.
A lot of danger, though. I mean, Bjergsen being caught in that position, PowerOfEvil Syndra has so much command right now.
Can I say something, Joe?
Sure.
Flash hook there, landed right onto Bjergsen. That was the follow-up there. Bjergsen didn't get to...
Told
and
you.
I have to say...
Yeah, it was probably recently off a cooldown. He likes to flash a lot. Let's check this one out one more time. It was just...
So he lands the stun. Look at this flash.
As he was dashing away, too.
Right
just bad luck. He was trying to flash, or no, he was trying to use his skills to get away from the Syndra stun. It still stunned him as he was dashing, therefore the flash hook was perfect for follow-up. And once they lose their zone control right there, they are supposed to be a group siege composition.
Yeah.
You lose your main sieger, you're done for.
You really got to set up your battle lines with this squad and have the enemy in a controlled environment. Not able to do it this time around, though. TSM, this is their hope. The 5-dragon dream. They have 3 of them, and they have Nunu.
Yep.
So, it's still a possibility for them.
And they do still have good zone control, no matter how many times Azir dies. I've watched a lot of solo queue games where it's like this 3 and 6 Azir gets a quadra kill because he gets his shoulders in the right place. And they don't care who they're hitting because they attack in an AoE and scale immensely.
Oh, hook there onto Santorin, and that's one way to control that dragon. Kill off the Nunu that can
He's
get
gonna
in
have
with
to
the
try and
flash
flash in for a
and
steal.
the smite. He's going to have to steal
get
this
it.
one again. Getting in close, and there it is. Santorin gets it
Dream's
once
alive.
again. But what happens to the rest of the team? Lustboy running in circles. Kikis will try and escape, and does manage to escape as well, right through the back of the team. And it's 1-0. Santorin goes down, but again was the hero with the dragon.
Wow.
I don't think I've ever heard that sound come out of Jet, but that was deserved. That Kikis escaping with his life right there. Oh, beautiful. Comes out with the Thresh Lantern as well. Once again, though, these dragons, Unicorn sporting another dragon, Nunu standing right there. They
5 dragons the dream.
What you do is you switch your damage over to Nunu, you force him off. Don't take Dragon down to that zone where he can consume Smite. This is TSM. This is what's keeping their faith alive here. They've the dream. It's only one more dragon now. They can't make that mistake again.
You can also argue, when you say that's TSM, you can also argue that Unicorns of Love kind of gifted them those last 2 dragons as well.
Yeah, well, you could see everyone was on the same page, just like, all right, don't let the dragon get down below 2,000 health. Everyone stop hitting it. And it's like, whoops, I crit it. I'm the Lucian. Oh well, as Kikis was obviously not playing the dragon game. He's doing the initiation, but that was just a desync on the team. The fact that he lived right there and the clutch shield coming in at the end was remarkable.
Oh, and that bomb actually just whistling by. That would have taken him out. Anyway, after that dragon, 7,000 the gold lead. Bjergsen finally gets a blue. Feels like it's been a while since they've been able to control that.
Why does he need it? He's 40% CDR with a ton of mana regen with double Morel and counts. I'd give it to Corki almost every single time.
That's a very, very valid point.
Oh, Vizicsacsi and Dyrus going to butt heads down bottom. Not really too much coming out of that frozen heart for Dyrus. And his Spirit Visage on the other side. Hex Drinker as well. And a bit of armor coming next for Vizicsacsi. So, Unicorns of Love struggled in the first best of 3 to close out the games. Game 1 against TSM, though, looked a lot smoother for them. Question is, what do they do here? Especially since TSM still have that 5 dragon possibility going their way.
Yeah. Try and play safe. You know, if it's always a possibility to turn around a poor tower dive, even if the team is this much ahead. So they can rely on that. They do have decent tanky stats, and they have Azir, so
base
great
race,
at turning those around. Base race is also an option. They have got Nunu.
Ooh, yeah. How much can they trade? I mean, it depends how well Dyrus can clear this wave. Not well.
Well, let's see. That inhibitor turret is going down. TSM
It's close. It's really close.
taking the inhibitor turret and the inhibitor
Going
now.
from the
They
side
are
is actually
very,
better
very
than going
close
straight up
on
mid.
this one.
Yep.
PowerOfEvil, it's going to be Hylissang that actually controls it. They probably need to get the towers here, though. Dyrus will be taken low, but not finished up on the other side. It's
TSM's trying to bail
Vizicsacsi
out,
trying
right?
to hold on. The Nexus
gonna lose
turrets
it.
on the other side aren't being held. The Unicorns of Love are pushing right in. They
They're gonna
take
get it.
both Nexus turrets. The Nexus now being focused down. Lustboy comes in. Well, look at the damage to the Nexus. They're going to get it. The Unicorns of Love move through into the final of the Intel Extreme Masters San Jose after a base race.
2-0 for Unicorns of Love. Vizicsacsi able to stop enough of the recalls, and they take the base race.
If you want to make a name for yourself, that's exactly how. You're thinking 16 kills to 4. Why would you opt into a base race? Well, because you know you can do it faster. They had the Lucian at that point. Yes, they're against a Nunu. Corki doesn't necessarily do it. They just did the math really quick in their head, figured they'd be faster, won the game of chicken and the series 2-0.
This is such an exciting team. They are gaining a lot of fans very, very quickly here. Unicorns of Love, going to be one to watch for next year.
And that's,
This year.
And that's the thing, right? Everyone said, why? How did the Unicorns of Love get voted in from the fan vote? A team which have only just qualified for the LCS and before that didn't really have a name for themselves. Well, we've just seen why. 2-0 in the quarterfinal against Lion. Looked a little bit ropey, but they come through into the semi-final, bringing out some, well, especially Kikis, bringing out some different picks there. Twisted Fate in game number 1. Went with a Wukong this time around. PowerOfEvil dominating that middle lane both times. Amazing play.
Yep. That's it. You can't, what are you going to say after we have such a crazy series? Jungle Twisted Fate, Jungle Wukong, PowerOfEvil really dominating Bjergsen in the mid lane. Yeah, he had some counter picks. He picked lane bullies, and Bjergsen picked more team-oriented champions, but he still controlled the game. Vizicsacsi against Dyrus. Dyrus, one of the most reliable top laners in the history of League of Legends, played toe-to-toe with him, maybe even a little bit ahead of him in a lot of these games. 2-0 was well-deserved. It's not like Team Solomid threw the games away or anything. Unicorns of Love just beat them.
And that's the thing, they go through now into the final. Everyone was saying before this event, TSM looks so good right now on 420. They look brilliant on this new patch. Santorin coming in, didn't maybe have the, I say didn't have the impact. I mean, he kept them in that game with those Dragon Steals the entire time.
Yeah, I mean, as Jet said during the game, like, it could have been a team decision. Like, that was the strategy, is to, you know, you don't always have these moves planned out for the jungler. But yeah, it did seem like not a lot of presence coming from him.
The question is, who do they face in the final? I mean, you look at that other side of the bracket now, Cloud9 versus Alliance tomorrow in the second semi-final. Unicorns of Love are maybe thinking, well, we just beat TSM. We're not really scared of anyone.
Why would they be right now? It's a similar story, potentially, as of Cloud9 when they joined the LCS, right? They had this really, really crazy, awesome promotion tournament experience. We're like, man, this team's really good. Yeah, they'll probably do all right. Maybe they're not that good, but who knows? They just destroyed Team Solomid 2-0.
Well, Alliance might have something to say about that, but they have to meet Cloud9 first of all in the semi-finals tomorrow. But for now, we're going to head down onto the main stage.